You don't really get to be a dog and get to that platform where you get to bring a national title, the first one back to LSU, without having that type of mentality, that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like we have to let these young women be unapologetically themselves.
Did you ever watch a rookie shred box scores, overturn boardroom math, and still have the presence of mind to shine a spotlight on someone standing quietly in her corner? Caitlin Clark just pulled that off, and it jolted every executive suite, locker room, and fan forum tied to women's basketball. The buzz is naturally centered on the $25 million Nike contract, yet the real bombshell lives in what she did after signing. Hang on, because the numbers are impressive, but the principle behind them is the twist nobody expected.
Well, it's funny what kind of people are attracted to. You know, I'm just trying to keep the main thing. The main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates.
Making it known, like if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
Agents love to whisper about once-in-a-generation leverage, but almost no one imagined a player with fewer than 10 professional games would ink the richest shoe pact in WNBA history. The agreement stretches 8 seasons for roughly $25 million. Plus, revenue shares on every piece of signature merchandise, from hoodies to limited edition warm-ups. Nike executives landed the deal after seeing Clark's Iowa jersey outsell entire divisions of men's college gear, and after television ratings for her March showcase eclipsed Major League Baseball's opening week.
This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game in the WNBA. And then also, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game had 3.4 million viewers, and that's the most watched WNBA.
Has it, Adidas offered a performance bonus that could balloon past $30 million, while Under Armour floated equity in a subsidiary line. Clark listened politely and returned to Nike with one condition that had nothing to do with her own annual payout. It was a single-sentence clause insisting Nike allocate a portion of her marketing budget to
develop a boldly disruptive shoe on Zoom.
And then rolling that into what will be her shoe later in the year.
Teammate of her choosing. Lawyers paused. Brand managers exchanged puzzled looks. In an industry where every comma can shift a shareholder projection, Clark insisted the sentence stay. Nike finally agreed, realizing the rookie understood something deeper. Power leveraged on behalf of others multiplies reach faster than self-centered fame. Now step back and consider the context. The average WNBA base salary hovers around $102,000, and only a handful of players ever see 7-figure endorsement checks. Clark's package is an instant anomaly, but it also exposes the imbalance. She is
a top WNBA pick, Caitlin Clark. Her first pro game, 10 days away. But even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
This way, it silenced it.
Well, Caitlin Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
Earning in one brand cycle what some veterans collect across an entire playing career. Nike saw an economic engine, short, yet they also saw a cultural accelerator capable of converting teenage fans into lifelong consumers. By giving Clark the unheard-of teammate clause, they bet that loyalty-driven storytelling wins eyeballs more consistently than highlight reels alone. When executives weighed the risk, the calculus was simple. Nobody sells authenticity like an athlete who refuses to sign unless her friend benefits too. Monster contracts capture headlines, yet real leverage often hides between those clauses nobody thinks to read. Roughly 10 days before her professional
referees, are they ever going to call a foul? Y'all going to call a foul? Did you swallow your whistle?
Think in for a second.
When it comes to attendance, when it comes to viewership, when it comes to jersey sales, when it comes to merch sales, it's going to be the biggest that we have seen.
You got to speak up and speak out. At this point, they don't even care if we speak out.
Caitlin Clark, currently the face of the WNBA, yes.
Debut, Clark shot a message to veteran wing Sophie Cunningham. The text was light on details. Need you in Indy, short Nike thing. Cunningham, mid-meal at a downtown cafe, shrugged, figuring it was a straightforward activation. Pose with new uniforms, shoot a 10-second promo, maybe answer a couple sponsor-friendly questions. She booked the next morning flight and did not bother alerting her agent. Indianapolis is corporate activation central. Players know the drill. What awaited her felt more like an art house premiere than a press junket. The venue was a small private theater near Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Velvet curtains in Indiana Fever colors masked the walls. 40 chairs were arranged in a semicircle. Each tag
Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million. Continues to prove her worth on the court every single time she steps on the court. And with that, she had a huge impact on elevating her entire team yesterday.
with a player's name and a simple white envelope sealed in crimson wax. The only lighting came from a single overhead projector humming quietly. As soon as Cunningham sat, ushers dimmed the room to pitch black. The projector flickered to life. A 3-minute film ignited the screen. Clark in high school gyms raining logo threes, roaring college crowds, the confetti from her record-setting tournament run, the bruises from
So we know the new Caitlin Clark Nike shoes came out, and they sold out. It was rumored that 13,000 pairs of Caitlin Clark's new Nike basketball sneakers were being sold on June 30th.
Caitlin didn't get this far alone, and she knows it. In a league full of
WNBA defenders determined to test her mettle. The montage wove in slow-motion clips of Cunningham doing what she does best, boxing out larger forwards, jawing at opponents, yanking Clark off the hardwood after every hard foul. Then 5 white words appeared on black. Loyalty is louder than hate. The film cut. Silence held for several heartbeats, long enough to hear someone exhale at the back of the room. Every envelope contained
women's sports.
How people view Caitlin Clark, and whether people view that the WNBA needs to protect Caitlin Clark, the golden goose of a league, as which she is being called.
She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season.
Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional. It was, to me,
the same printed quote from Clark. If one teammate fights for me, everyone wins. The message felt personal and intentionally cryptic. Cunningham glanced across the aisle. Reporters were nowhere in sight. Social media staff is absent, and only a small in-house Nike camera crew lingered against the side wall. That is when the stage lights popped and a Nike VP stepped forward carrying what looked like a trophy case. If your pulse spiked a little, you should know Sophie's was racing too, and she still had no clue why she was there. To understand why Clark handpicked Cunningham, rewind to the chippy first month of the Fever season. Every arena was sold out. Every opponent itching to record the night we shut down Clark, and referees seemed hesitant to whistle veteran enforcers for borderline hits. Angel Reese turned shoulders into battering rams. DeJohn Carrington, famous for being the league's agitator-in-chief, delivered hip checks that would have earned a fine in any other league. Commentators framed it as a welcome to the pros crash course. Fans called it targeted intimidation. Cunningham never bought into the theatrics. When cameras focused on Clark, Sophie stationed herself 2 steps away, elbows high, voice louder than the public address system. She shoved back when bodies crashed. She drifted into heated scrums to diffuse tension before security could sprint.
And I'm here to tell you, it is not a good moment in the fan base. Fans are quiet online. A lot of people are starting to look like they're reselling their All-Star tickets.
they had other ads and things that came out, but since then it has been cricket.
Thank God they get Caitlin Clark. She's injured for 2 weeks. All of a sudden attendance goes down.
Caitlin Clark running the show. Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the Indiana Fever.
Reporters once asked why she expended so much energy babysitting a rookie. She answered, because greatness deserves space to breathe. Teammates started calling her the Shield. Clark, ever methodical, tracked the difference. In games where Cunningham shared the court for more than 20 minutes, Clark's shooting percentage spiked a full 7 points. Her turnover rate dropped by half a miscue. Those are analytics departments dream about, yet numbers never reflected the intangible. The confidence of knowing someone was willing to plant a flag for you in a sea of swinging arms. Off the court, Cunningham collected 0 endorsement offers that season. Not one sportswear brand rang her phone.
Not blame Sophie at all. Like, I have her back. Making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it, is going to change. And not much is going to change until there's literally a shift in how they view the WNBA, how they view good basketball on the court.
Her averages were solid, but not sensational. 9 points, 4 boards, relentless hustle. In the influencer age, highlight dunks get deals, not box outs. She shrugged, posted workout stories on Instagram, and went back to practice early the next morning. Clark noticed. She remembered. Sometimes the stat they never print, minutes spent protecting a teammate, turns out to be the one that changes a career. As the Nike VP set the glass case on a velvet-covered pedestal, murmurs rippled across the theater. Inside was a Fever jersey unlike any produced before. Deep scarlet fabric trimmed in shimmering metallic gold. Each letter hand-scripted, not screen-printed. A hush blanketed the audience. The VP addressed the room, lauded Clark's meteoric influence, cited year-over-year increases in WNBA broadcast.
You're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. This was, I believe, Caitlin Clark's last game. Her ability to step up in big moments. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on.
S ratings exceeding 70%, and praised the synergy between Clark's style and Nike's heritage of empowering pioneers. He lifted the jersey and offered it to Caitlin. Photographers raised cameras, expecting a predictable hero shot. Clark accepted the jersey, but instead of pulling her over her head, she let it hang between her fingers. She pivoted toward Cunningham. This symbol belongs to every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team, she announced, voice clear but steady. The sentence felt rehearsed yet entirely genuine. People froze. Cunningham blinked in disbelief. Then Clark reached once more into the case and produced a second object, a sleek matte black shoebox with red Fever pulse lines warped across the lid. The crowd tensed. Clark opened it and lifted out a pair of mid-tops drenched in navy leather, scarlet swooshes, and gold stitching along the heel reading "No Backing Down." Gasps echoed. A Nike attorney stepped forward with papers. The contract was real, printed on heavyweight linen, countersigned by Nike's board just hours earlier. It created a sub-endorsement tying Sophie to Clark's own line. The language stipulated royalties cascading directly to Cunningham on every pair sold. The theater erupted in applause. Cunningham's eyes glossed with tears. She tried and...
But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. When the bright lights are on, Caitlin Clark is also on. Her ability to step up in big moments brought her down.
Failed to hide. She mouthed thank you as Clark hugged her. The moment was broadcast live on Nike's internal feed and was online within minutes, igniting a wildfire of retweets and reaction videos. Witnessing rules evaporate in real time forces everyone to rethink how far loyalty can stretch. Within 30 minutes, group chats across the league flooded with screenshots. A former Defensive Player of the Year texted, "Rookie just broke capitalism." Agents dove into contract archives hunting for precedent. They found none. Clark's clause created a brand new model. A star wielded negotiation leverage to secure a peer's future instead of maximizing her own. Some veterans cheered the solidarity, others bristled, feeling the widening pay gap. Ticket resale platforms noticed an 11% jump in Fever home prices the same day. Merchandise orders spiked so fast, Nike's e-commerce site glitched. The WNBA social team scrambled to craft a statement celebrating unity. Meanwhile, ESPN producers inserted an emergency segment into primetime programming headlined "Caitlin's Contract Coup." Analysts debated the implications. Could this push teams toward shared equity strategies? Would it pressure sponsors to diversify endorsement rosters? The general consensus: Clark changed the conversation from "how much can one player earn" to "how many people can one player uplift." Corporate brands outside sports also took notice. A bank syndicate approached Cunningham's representatives within 48 hours to propose a community outreach partnership anchored by her story of loyalty and grit. Cunningham, still absorbing the whirlwind, deferred decisions, choosing first to call her parents in tears of disbelief. In a single afternoon, she pivoted from steady role player to national brand asset. Ripple effects amplify when they challenge norms everyone assumed were unbreakable. Nike's leadership wasted no time greenlighting an integrated storytelling arc titled Built for Each Other. It kicked off with a 60-second spot. Open courts at dusk, two silhouettes shooting under flickering streetlights. Voiceover declaring, "Strength is louder when shared." The ad closes on Clark feeding Cunningham a perfect bounce pass that transitions into a handshake, freeze frames, and the words, "No backing down," burn across the screen. Early test focus groups ranked the spot in the 95th percentile for authenticity and female empowerment. The merchandise plan follows a 3-tier release. First, Clark's signature high tops drop nationwide in November with an initial run of 20,000 pairs. Next, a January capsule features Clark's practice shorts and compression sleeve paired with Cunningham's PE sneakers, limited to 5,000 units each. Third, a spring lifestyle line reimagines the fever palette for streetwear, filming both athletes mentoring teenagers at neighborhood courts. Designers purposely muted flashy colors, favoring fabrics that can handle asphalt grit, aligning product with the narrative of loyalty over luxury. Nike's internal brand science team forecasted a 14% lift in women's basketball category revenue by year 2, driven not only by domestic sales, but also emergent markets in Southeast Asia where women's sports viewership is ballooning. The company earmarked part of that lift for the mentorship program Clark envisioned, funneling gear and court refurbishments into communities lacking safe athletic spaces. Analysts call it a triple win: financial upside, social impact, and brand differentiation. When a company realizes values sell better than slogans, even billion-dollar budgets can recalibrate overnight. Long before she signed the Nike paperwork, Clark quietly incorporated a nonprofit called Courts for Queens. The mission is direct: eradicate barriers keeping girls from playing basketball in underfunded zones. The blueprint involves pop-up clinics in donated parking lots, mobile hoops that fold into trailer beds, and 3-week leadership curriculums culminating in free tournaments. Participants leave with sneakers, sports bras, and digital mentorship access. Cunningham volunteered to coordinate travel logistics, knowing the back roads of Missouri and Indiana, where courts sometimes double as cracked asphalt. Other WNBA athletes are aligned in schedules to guest coach, including the 3-time All-Star center who credits after-school programs for keeping her focused as a teenager. Nike will supply inventory and promotional muscle, but the sessions themselves stay intentionally small. Clark wants personal connection, not stadium spectacle. Each clinic caps attendance at 100, ensuring every participant receives hands-on coaching. Evaluation metrics extend beyond photos and press releases. The nonprofit will track school attendance, self-confidence surveys, and whether girls remain in sports programs 12 months later. Academic partners from the University of Iowa's Education Department signed on to analyze outcomes. If the pilot year delivers, Courts for Queens will expand into a multi-state initiative, with local coaches eventually replacing touring pros. Clark is quick to emphasize sustainability. "I do not want a pop-up charity that vanishes next season. Girls deserve consistency, not cameos. Shifts in culture rarely happen in highlight reels. They happen in small spaces where encouragement meets opportunity." No revolution rolls forward uncontested. Some league veterans question whether Clark's gesture inadvertently spotlights how uneven corporate dollars remain. They point to decades of grinding with minimal endorsement exposure. One former champion voiced concerns that brands may funnel resources toward headline friendships rather than broad-based league support. Front office executives worry that clauses like Clark's will complicate salary cap negotiations, especially if footwear money begins influencing player decisions about re-signing or demanding trades. On social media, debates rage about whether Cunningham deserved the shoe tie-in. Critics cite modest career averages and warn of favoritism overshadowing performance metrics. Fans counter that intangible contributions, leadership, physical sacrifice, emotional stability are foundational to team success. Sports culture websites churn clickbait. Is Clark's generosity a genius PR play or risky favoritism? Clark remains silent, refusing to stoke the fire. Her stat lines quietly do the talking. 21 points per game, 8 assists, and attendance records falling weekly. One unspoken fear among gatekeepers: that Clark's model scales. Imagine a rookie soccer star splitting ad revenue with a left back who chases wingers all match. Picture a baseball phenom bundling his equipment line with the catcher who frames his strike zone. Such scenarios threaten old hierarchies that prioritize flashy positions over glue players, and they redistribute attention in ways marketing departments did not script. The quickest way to expose fragile systems is to empower individuals the system ignored. Financial analysts already project a domino effect. Brands will test co-signature strategies pairing stars with less heralded teammates to craft origin stories rooted in loyalty. Union negotiators may push for endorsement revenue sharing pools. Streaming networks smell documentary gold in chronicling behind-the-scenes alliance building. Meanwhile, youth players absorb the lesson: greatness is not a solo sport. Recruiting scouts in high school gymnasiums hear kids repeating Cunningham's "no backing down" mantra after diving for loose balls. College athletic directors sense opportunity. They are crafting NIL packages that bind top recruits with defensive specialists or academic mentors, selling families on holistic growth. Tech companies developing creator economy tools are coding features enabling athletes to split sponsorship payouts seamlessly with partners, trainers, and teammates. Clark's clause could ultimately inspire fintech advances in micro-royalty distribution across sports. The shift will not be painless. Stakeholders comfortable with star-centric marketing must adapt. Audiences, though, appear ready. Polls show younger fans value authenticity and collective uplift over isolated heroism. In a fragmented media landscape, nothing unites quicker than a story about someone giving their shine away. Clark's move is a case study delivered in real time with real money and real stakes. Change often moves slow until a single visible act plants its flag. Then momentum feels inevitable. Caitlin Clark's jumper already shatters three-point arcs, but her willingness to sacrifice personal limelight for shared glory just rewrote the unwritten rules of athlete influence. $25 million is a staggering number, yet its greatest value lies in the single clause that redirected some of that energy toward a teammate who spent a season absorbing hits so Clark could keep launching daggers. In a league desperate for transformative storylines, she turned a lucrative endorsement into a proof of concept, demonstrating that individual clout can scaffold communal progress. The question no longer revolves around how much one rookie can earn. The conversation now orbits a deeper challenge. How far will athletes go to broadcast loyalty in an era starved for it? When the next generational talent negotiates deals, she may ask what doors can open for the people who boxed out, fostered calm, and stepped between her and bruising elbows. The blueprint is here, etched in gold thread, matte black leather, and words stitched down a heel. No backing down. So pay attention. The most telling stat of Caitlin Clark's career might not appear in box yours. It could be the number of futures altered because she chose to use the power of one to multiply opportunities for many. The season plays on, the league evolves, and somewhere in a newly refurbished asphalt court, a little girl laces up sneakers branded with a story more compelling than any scoreboard. That greatness, when shared, multiplies. How many points is that worth? Tune in, because the next chapter in women's basketball is already bouncing towards center court, and Caitlin and Sophie own the opening tip.